guys, what's up? It's Ben with the Honda Rescue Garage YouTube channel. Today we are doing a lift kit installation on a Forester. I think it's a 2001, and this guy is looking pretty lame, sitting all stock. It just seems low. I'm used to looking at lifted vehicles, but it really does seem like this thing sits lower than usual. The guy bought this thing for like 400 bucks, and he wants to do some off-roading and things like that. We're gonna do a 2-inch lift kit on this today with the rear subframe spacers. Okay, so we're also gonna do a giveaway. 2-inch lift kit for Forester, 98 to 08, and it's going to be for 30 days after this video is posted will be the amount of time that I accept entries. So whenever date this video is posted, 30 days after that is when we will choose a winner, and then the winner will actually be announced in the next video. But stay tuned to the end of the video for that. All right, here we go. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is jack it up. I call it working harder rather than smarter. It seems to be a habit of mine. Get the front end off the ground. Of course, you wanna use jack stands unless you like living dangerously like me and just lay under there. If you haven't already picked one of these up, highly recommend it. Way better than having an air hose tethering you. So yeah, the wheel won't come off. I'll show you a little trick. Well, maybe not. I'll show you a little trick how to get the wheel off. Can't get enough stuff on it. Wow, that thing is really on there. How in the hell? Okay, well, you know what? I've got to pry one. Hey, look at that. I don't think that wheel's been off since 2001. Okay, now we take these big bolts out here and take this ABS line off. What you want to do, you see, is have all your tools organized. That way your video editor has less time in digging through useless footage of you testing every single socket that you brought out here until you find the right one. And then finding out I still didn't bring the right socket out here. Would it be a 19? I don't think it'd be a 19. Yeah, it is a 19. Okay, I gotta put a wrench on that side. I like to keep my wrench drawers organized. That way you can't find anything. There's one. Now this thing is 20 years old. For me to crack this line open is risking breaking the head off of the banjo bolt. It's also risking me breaking the bleeder screw. Like, see how this bleeder screw is really thin? If I break that, or if I round it off, he has no brakes. So if you're doing this the proper way, which in some people's mind is doing it this way, then what you're gonna wanna do is undo the brake line from here and then slide the brake line through this hole and on out. What I'm gonna do is neither of those things. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut a notch right here, and I'm gonna bend this down, take the brake line out, and then when I'm done, I'm gonna bend that back up, put the brake line back in, and clip it back in like it was never off. And that's just the way I'm gonna do it. You don't have to do it that way, but I'm just giving you both examples here. So what you're gonna wanna do, box the shit out of the way first of all, and then you're gonna wanna get the death wheel out. If you haven't got one of these, I highly recommend it. They're awesome. And we're just gonna cut a notch right there. Now, take some pliers, bend it like so. See that? Now the brake line is free. That's all there is to it. And when I put it back together, slide that back in. No big deal. So now we've got the strut all apart, got the brake lines off. Gonna go up top, snatch the bolts out of here. These nuts. Now, take this bolt out now. Take the strut out. You want to make sure that this doesn't flop out too far or the axle will come out. So what you might want to do is grab some wire, just take some welding wire or whatever you got laying around, doesn't matter, and then put it through like that. See, now keeps it in place onto the strut. And what we're going to do is set them right on that, like so. Just like that. We're going to take the bolts and they're going to go through like this. But first of all, we're going to take these and put them on here. Why doesn't that fit? What the hell? I'm just gonna put it back together. Should be pretty easy. It does spin pretty freely low. Look at that. Okay. All right, now that we got it in position, so to speak, up here, we're gonna line up the bolts from the bottom. Okay, so what I did was I got one bolt through, got the nut so started, so it's in. Now we can put the other ones in there. Now they just thread in right through the bottom. Okay, see what we did? Stuck another one in there. Got these two. with that third one in now. All right, so for the back, you're gonna pull this piece off. So pull the seat lever, lean the seats forward a little bit, and you're gonna ever so gently pull up on this. Don't break it. Should come off just like that, nice and clean. Struts under here. Pull this up, and now you've got access to these 3 bolts. Gonna take those out, drop the strut down from the bottom. Dang, the wheels do not want to come off. Whew. So for the back, what you're gonna do is grab this little retainer clip, pull it out like so, ever so gently, of course. Once that's out, you're gonna need to make a notch in this little tab right here. We're gonna cut it, and then we're gonna bend that little piece of metal over and then slide the brake line out of that gap so we can get this strut out without cracking open the brake system. And when we get done, we'll take that little flap of metal and bend it back in place. That way, this little clip will be able to retain the brake line just as it was before. We're gonna take the death wheel and just do a little cut right here. That's all there is to that. And then just bend that, and you can bend it all back whenever you're done. Obviously, as you can see, the brake line comes right out. You wanna be careful not to bend this too far. So it'll be right there when we go to put it back together. You pull the strut out. These 3 bolts under here, and then you're gonna replace them with the longer ones, put the spacers in between. Now, the spacer. We're gonna install the spacer on the top of the strut real quick. And this one here is basically pre-production, and because we only had the 1.5s before, and this is the new 2-inch kit. And the production version will have studs coming up, so it'll make them a little bit easier to install. So this basically is just a test fit or whatever, but it will still do what we need it to do for this video. The kit's gonna come with new nuts. These are the ones that come from the factory, and we're gonna use those on the inside of the car, and I'll tell you why. Because if you put them on like so, you can spin them that far, and then you can't tighten them anymore without manually like turning the wrench and all that stuff. And the reason this is sitting up a little bit is because, as you guys know, there's a rubber gasket right here that keeps debris out. So that's why it's a little bit of a gap, but when we tighten it down, it'll press into that gasket and seal it up. But here's why I say use the nuts that come with it. They're serrated, so they will grip and they won't just come loose on you. But you look at this, you can spin them all the way down rather than having to crank it with a wrench and just take forever, you know? So this is gonna speed it up a little bit versus using the factory ones. We'll use the factory ones on the inside because we can use a power tool on those and tighten them down, no problem. There's that. I will tighten these down and then we'll move on to installing the strut. All right, that's got that dialed in. Now, we're gonna look at putting the brake line back in, and it's super easy. You know, really all you gotta do is just bring it back through the gap like so, push it back down like that. See how it's already seated? And then all we got to do is just bend this thing back down like so. Don't buy cheap tools, kids. It's so annoying. All right, now that we've bent this back into place, we're gonna slide this little clip back down where it was, just like so. You can see it all goes back together nicely. I'm just gonna tap it into place using the proper tool. And that's the brake line back to where it's supposed to be. The last step is we're gonna do the trailing arm spacers. And we had to drop this down, obviously, to get, you know, the suspension to lower enough to get these to fit easily. So now what we'll do is place these in between the trailing arm bracket and the body, and then we'll run those new bolts in. We're gonna jack up on it right here to push this up towards the body more, because if we just try to push it with our hand, it's not gonna line up. So that's what we're gonna do next. We're gonna push this up so that these bolts will line up. One guarantee about mechanic work: if you drop something that will even slightly roll, it's guaranteed that it will roll all the way to the center of the car and then stop. Or if you're working over an engine and you drop something, guaranteed to land in the engine bay somewhere and not hit the ground. Anytime you're doing work like this, you want to always hand thread the bolts in first rather than just impacting them in, because it might cross thread. I'm going to go ahead and tighten them up. There it is. All right. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for the rear. Got all the trailing arm spacers installed, got the strut spacer installed, got the camber bolt installed, and I showed you guys how to do the brake line deal. And that's pretty much it. Now, the last thing we're gonna do is throw the tires on, and we're gonna drive it around the block a little bit to help the suspension settle and see where we're at as far as our camber adjustment. All right, guys, I wanted to just show you one last little clip here of the camber adjustment bolt. And I've shown how to put it in already, but I wanted to just show you how to adjust it. So basically, when you turn this bolt, there's a cam inside it that can move this in or out, which affects camber. So watch as I turn, you'll see it move. Now it's pushed out, and now it's gonna come back around and pull it back in. It's not much. I think it's only like 1.5 degrees, but most of the time that's enough to dial in whatever camber issues you have. I'm gonna dial this one in all the way for negative, because I just dropped this thing on the ground with the lift kit and it shows a little bit of positive camber just visually. So we're gonna leave it in the negative, full negative adjusted position and tighten it up right there. And then obviously when you get this installed, you're going to want to go ahead and get an alignment done, because if you don't, it'll just wear your tires out and drive funny and all that, and we don't want that. Put the wheel on, and we're going to take it for a test drive. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for the Subaru Forester lift kit video. I think it looks great. It does need bigger tires. I mean, I think we'll all agree. And fact of the matter is, he does have all-terrains he's going to put on it. 215 75 15, I believe, is what he was going to do. Maybe a little bigger, I can't remember exactly, but I'll try to put a picture of it in this video so that you can see what it looks like after it's all finished. But at any rate, I did promise you guys I was going to give away a kit, and I am. So the trivia question for today's giveaway is going to be, how long did it actually take me to install this lift kit? Now, granted, I did take a lunch break, you know, along the way, and I wasn't in a real hurry, but the actual amount of time I did keep track of exactly how long it took me to install this kit. Now, granted, there wasn't any rust, there wasn't any problems with that. This came apart and went back together, no problem. I love Southern cars, no rust. But anyways, that's the question today, is how long did I spend installing this lift kit on this Subaru Forester? And if you can guess, the closest person that guesses it will win a 2-inch lift kit for a Subaru Forester / Legacy. I'll put all the compatibility, years and makes and models and all that stuff right here on the screen. But anyways, that will be our giveaway. So whoever guesses, and like I said, the giveaway goes from a month after I post this video. So whenever this video comes up on YouTube, 1 month after that is when we will stop the entries and we will pick a winner. And then in the next video, we will announce that winner. So that's the deal, guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have fun installing your lift kits on your Subarus. For now, the 2-inch kit, we'll have 1.5 and a 2-inch kit available for these, and 3-inch kit will be coming soon. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for the lift kit video on the Subaru Forester. Now, I promised you guys to give... Can't do it without